There is a part of you that has carried pain for so long that it has begun to feel familiar. You were guided here because your soul is now asking an important question: how much of your suffering has become part of your identity? Not because you wanted pain, but because over time, certain wounds, fears, disappointments, and emotional patterns became deeply woven into the way you see yourself and your life. And when suffering becomes familiar, the mind often mistakes it for permanence. But I tell you now, the version of you that learned to survive through pain is not the final version your soul is asking you to become. There is a difference between honoring your wounds and building your entire identity around them. Honoring your wounds means acknowledging what hurt you, learning from it, healing through it with compassion. But identifying with suffering causes you to unconsciously remain emotionally attached to old pain because it feels connected to who you are. You begin expecting disappointment, preparing for rejection, anticipating loss, protecting yourself from joy because part of you no longer fully trusts peace to remain. And slowly, suffering becomes emotionally familiar even when your soul longs for freedom. You may not realize how deeply these patterns influence your life. They shape your expectations, your relationships, your choices, even your ability to receive happiness. Because when pain has existed for a long time, peace can initially feel unfamiliar, even unsafe. The nervous system becomes accustomed to tension, hypervigilance, emotional guarding. And when moments of lightness or alignment appear, part of you instinctively waits for them to disappear. This is not weakness. It is conditioning. But conditioning is not destiny. Your soul is not asking you to deny what you have lived through. Your experiences mattered. Your pain mattered. Your healing matters deeply. But there comes a moment in every awakening where the soul gently asks, are you ready to stop carrying old suffering as proof of who you are? This question can feel frightening because suffering often creates identity. It gives meaning to survival. It shapes how you relate to yourself and the world. And releasing attachment to pain can feel strangely vulnerable because it requires you to imagine yourself beyond it. Yet your spirit was never meant to remain emotionally imprisoned inside wounds that were only meant to teach and transform you. You are not dishonoring your past by healing. You are honoring your soul by allowing transformation to continue. There may still be grief within you. Old memories, disappointments, betrayals, or fears that occasionally rise to the surface. Healing does not erase these experiences completely. But healing changes your relationship with them. Instead of defining your future, they become part of your wisdom. Instead of controlling your identity, they become chapters you survived, not the entire story of who you are. You may notice that part of you resists happiness sometimes. Resists rest. Resists ease. Because suffering taught you to stay emotionally prepared for pain. And when life becomes calmer or more aligned, old survival instincts whisper that something must be wrong. But peace is not danger. Joy is not betrayal. Ease is not weakness. These experiences may feel unfamiliar because your nervous system spent so long adapting to struggle, but unfamiliarity does not mean they are unsafe. Your soul is trying to teach you how to live beyond survival now. There are parts of your identity beginning to dissolve because they were built around pain rather than truth. The version of you that constantly expects abandonment. The version that believes suffering is necessary for worthiness. The version that fears receiving too much joy because loss once hurt deeply. These identities are softening now, not because you are losing yourself, but because you are becoming more fully yourself beyond survival. This transformation requires patience and compassion. You are not meant to shame yourself for old wounds. You are meant to stop building your future around them. Healing is not pretending pain never existed. Healing is choosing not to remain emotionally defined by it forever. There is life waiting beyond the identities your suffering created. There is peace waiting beyond the constant expectation of struggle. There is joy waiting beyond the fear that happiness cannot last. But you must allow yourself to imagine a version of you that is no longer organized around pain. And that requires trust. Trust that your soul is capable of holding more than survival. Trust that peace can become familiar too. I am with you in this release. In every moment when old pain tries to convince you it is all you are, I am there. In every moment when fear tells you that healing means losing part of yourself, I am there, reminding you that your wounds were never your true identity. They were experiences, not your essence. Your essence has always been far greater than the suffering you survived. So stop defining your future through the limitations of your past pain. Stop expecting yourself to remain emotionally imprisoned inside old versions of survival forever. Allow healing to continue, even if it feels unfamiliar. Allow yourself to believe that peace can become your natural state too. Because the moment you stop identifying with suffering as the core of who you are, something extraordinary begins unfolding within you. Your spirit softens. Your nervous system relaxes. Your heart begins opening toward life again. And slowly, steadily, you become someone who no longer merely survives existence but someone who finally feels safe enough to truly live it.